Like all the events at Climate Week, I hope that you will agree that this meeting of the Under2 Coalition will show that we are overwhelmingly focused on action and doing more faster.
This year we're celebrating our 5th anniversary, and we now represent more than 220 governments and 43% of the global economy. And 19 states and regions in the coalition have committed to reaching net zero emissions by 2050 or earlier.
We risk breaching the 1.5 temperature limit much faster than predicted. And I don't need to remind the leaders present here today that our world is literally on fire.
Climate change is real. Science is in. The evidence, the observed evidence is self-evident to anybody that takes their time to observe.
Science matters. We relied on science and are still relying on science to make very tough policy decisions on COVID. The same will certainly apply to our approach on climate.
We're trying to rebuild in a new direction. In the direction of the ecological transition that we desperately need, and also of social cohesion, fight to inequalities. These are also the objectives of the Agenda 2030 of the United Nations.
The youth will inherit the problems we created. We must educate not only them, but ourselves, all the time, with the best science-based knowledge, combating fake news, greenwashing, and other informative malpractices.
To make Paris work, we're going to have a total change in the attitude of our national leaders.
For many of us, the relatively easy changes have already been made. It gets tougher now, and it requires change in areas that have a bigger impact on people's lives, and we have to be brave enough to embrace that.
We have to mobilize our own people, and that's quite a job. People are not yet awake to the challenge.
Detener el cambio climático y asegurar un uso sustentable de los recursos naturales es tarea de todos. Propongamos soluciones innovadoras.
We in Victoria are showing that we can reduce carbon emissions, grow new industries and create jobs, which is more important than ever in these very uncertain times.
We perceive the transition towards carbon neutrality as both a major challenge that we are keen to accept, but mainly as an opportunity to become a pioneer in the field of climate neutral industry.
Der Ausbau der erneuerbaren Energien in Baden-Württemberg ist in den letzten Jahren gut vorangekommen. Wenn man nimmt, 2011 hatten wir einen Anteil von 15% bei den Erneuerbaren im Stromsektor. Heute sind wir bei über 30%, Tendenz weiter steigend.
O Estado de Mato Grosso tem hoje uma política ambiental focada na preservação, uma política ambiental que estabelece regras muito claras para que nós tenhamos um modelo de crescimento que permita respeito ao meio ambiente e respeito também às pessoas que moram em vários cantos do nosso estado.
We are a globalized society where our actions have direct impact on each other.
Yeah, I mean, there's an old saying that there's not a problem that exists that hasn't been solved by somebody somewhere. That power of emulation. And the reality is we have an extraordinary amount to learn, each and every one of us, from one another.
I think we see the power of this coalition lying in both our collective global political power, as we're seeing today, but also through that opportunity to share expertise and best practice.
My vision is to ensure that Africa is participating in this campaign led by Under2 Coalition.
As co-chair from Europe, Scotland will try to put inclusion and justice at the heart of the coalition's work.
Cities and regions, that subnational actors are so important in times where national governments sometimes move away from climate ambition.
We must work on governance in terms of alignment of the action plans from the national level, the subnational level, and local level.
Through international collaboration of local and regional governments, we can align our canoes in the same direction to help each other arrive at a more sustainable equitable world for all of us.
When a region commits to going to net zero and the policies to get there, it really sends a great signal to the private sector who want a sense of direction and clarity and policy stability. Countries really are looking to non-state actors, to regions, to cities, to businesses, to investors. Find the edge of your comfort zone and then take one more step.
You influence national leaders each day, raise your voices, and use your extensive platforms.